So now that the ammo crisis is starting to get better all across the country, one has to ask themselves if the US government played any role in creating the ammo shortage or prolonging the ammo shortage, which eventually turned from an ammo shortage into an ammo crisis. Many people have commented on previous videos saying that the government was totally involved in one way, shape, or form, either by buying billions of rounds or having priority over the retail shops and us average citizens, or by telling the manufacturers to not sell to the retailers. I've even heard that some in the government were trying to slow down the production of ammo by limiting the amount of raw materials needed to make ammo, or they were buying up all the raw materials first before the manufacturers could even get their hands on it. So let's take a look at what happened last year that made the ammo shortage turn into an ammo crisis. First, we need to understand how much ammo was sold in the previous years to kind of get a better understanding of where we are here in 2021. So let's start off by saying that in 2017, just a couple years ago, there were 8.1 billion rounds sold to the general public. Okay, so 8.1 billion rounds in 2017. In 2018, that number jumped and it went from 8.1 billion in 2017 to 8.7 billion in 2018. And of course, that is just the general public. We're not talking about the US military. So just the general public in 2018, 8.7 billion rounds were sold to the general public. In 2019, of course, that number jumped again and it went from 8.7 billion to 9.1 billion rounds. And of those 9.1 billion, 5 billion rounds were rimfire rounds, and the other 4 billion rounds were centerfire rounds, meaning they were rifle rounds, shotgun rounds, pistol rounds. While we don't have the exact number for 2020, the ballpark estimate as of right now for 2020 is going to be somewhere in the ballpark of 11.5 to 12.5 billion rounds sold to the general public. That is a lot of rounds being made for the general population, for the general consumption of the American population, right? Now the question is, who bought all those rounds? Remember, this was before all the panic buying, all of the hoarding, all of the protests were going on, and all of the civil unrest that we saw in the country last year. Couple that with more people wanting to protect themselves and going out and buying as much ammo as they possibly could, that was a recipe to make the ammo shortage turn into an ammo crisis. So let's get this out of the way real quick. First and foremost, the US military makes their own ammo. According to Title V, they are required to make their own, and they are not going to be depending on anybody else other than themselves to make their ammunition. Now, Lake City Army Ammunition Plant in Missouri is the only manufacturing plant in existence currently. There used to be 8 of them during the World War II era. There used to be 8 plants, but currently they're down to just 1 plant, and they're making an estimated 1.5 to 2 billion rounds strictly for the military. But now keep in mind that ammunition from Lake City is strictly for the military. It does not go to the federal government. The federal government is going to buy the ammunition from the same place we get ours from. When I'm talking about the federal government, I'm referring to all the alphabet agencies out there, the CIA, the DEA, the FBI, the IRS, even the SBA, the Small Business Administration. They all get the ammunition from the same place we get them from, the civilian manufacturers. So they all have guns and they all need ammunition. And of course, like I just said, they're going to get their ammunition from the civilian manufacturers. And last year, it was estimated $1.6 billion worth of ammo is what they purchased from the civilian manufacturers. Again, $1.6 billion worth of ammo went to these alphabet agencies from the civilian manufacturers. So of course they're going to have a better deal when they go purchase their ammo. Their buck is going to go a little bit further than you and I. So if I had to guess, I would say about 2 to 2.5 billion rounds went to the alphabet agencies last year. And if our estimate is correct, between 12 billion rounds last year, that leaves an estimated 10 billion rounds for general consumption for the general public last year alone. Now that's up from 2019 at 9.1 billion. So 10 billion sounds like a lot. And yes, it is a lot of ammo, but it's not enough to handle the ammo shortage that we saw in 2020, which is why the shortage turned into a crisis. So let's just recap what happened last year, right? There was a lot of panic buying, I saw it left and right, and I'm sure you guys saw it too, especially when you go to Academy, Bass Pro Shop, Cabela's, Walmart, you go to the gun shows, it doesn't matter. There was a ton of panic buying last year. They say there was a lot of first-time gun owners, but my question, how do they know who a first-time gun owner is? Because the last time I checked, when you fill out a 4473, there is not a question that says, hey, are you a first-time gun owner? Or, hey, how many guns do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4? There is no way of knowing who is a first-time gun owner. Now, they can guesstimate who is, but then again, how do you guesstimate? Do they go take a random survey? Hey, sir, hey, ma'am, I saw you just purchased a new Glock. Is this your first pistol? Is this your first Glock? Oh, it is? Oh, let me just mark that down on a survey and turn that into a central location so we can get a general idea of how many first-time gun buyers there are in the country. I've never understood how they came up with this 5 million or 5 billion or 5 trillion new first-time gun buyers. So if someone can enlighten me and kind of show me or teach me or tell me how they come up with this number and drop a comment down below, I would truly appreciate it, because I have no idea where they come up with this number from. But they say there was a lot of first-time gun buyers, and they talk about these folks buying 1, 2, 3 cases, of ammunition. And if there was 5 million times 3 cases, that's a lot of extra ammo added to the general consumption of the general public. And then right after COVID hit, there was a lot of civil unrest and more panic buying, followed by the election, which turned into more panic buying, because the election always turns more gun sales and ammunition sales. But this one in particular turned into more panic buying. And then there was more chaos after the election, and then there was more panic buying. And let's not forget what happened on January 6th at the nation's capital, which led to more panic buying. And then to top it off, there was more panic buying during the inauguration. So with all these events leading up from the beginning of 2020 to the beginning of 2021, that entire year, there was several events that led up to the general folks, the general population, panic buying and continuing to put a bigger strain on the ammo distribution. It's just simple supply and demand. The supply could not keep up with the demand. It was just too much panic buying going on all throughout the year. It's just too much. So there's been a consistent series of events that have kept the ammo in short supply, because the general public here in the US have been panic buying for a good part of the year. The panic buying was really only felt in the US and not in other countries where you hear that they have ammo on the shelves. You hear they have ammo on the shelves in Canada, Mexico, Australia, England, wherever. I don't know. But you always see where these other countries have ammo on the shelves and the US doesn't. Well, it's because we had all these panic buying events that led to the ammo shortage here in the US, and it didn't lead to an ammo shortage over there because they didn't have the same events of panic buying that we felt here in the US. Now, panic buying isn't a new concept to Americans. We don't have to look much further in the past, too far back in the past. Just think about what happened recently with the toilet paper shortage, right? There really is such thing as fear of missing out, FOMO, right? Fear of missing out is what leads to panic buying. Now, when the toilet paper disappeared, it wasn't because there was some conspiracy to hide all the toilet paper. It was because people were panic buying the toilet paper. And the toilet paper companies were producing more toilet paper than ever before, but it still took months to get the supply back to where it needed to be, because people were panic buying. And then when people finally came to their senses and stopped panic buying the toilet paper, that's one of the main reasons why the toilet paper came back, the supply came back, but the main difference between the toilet paper and the ammo shortage is that people have not come to their senses yet. People continue to panic buy ammo. It hasn't stopped. The supply is starting to pick back up, but people are still panic buying, and they're still buying everything they possibly can. They see it, they buy it. Fear of missing out. You see it, you buy it, which prolongs the ammo shortage and turn it from an ammo shortage into an ammo crisis. So to answer the question, yes, with 12 billion rounds being purchased and manufactured last year, yes, the federal government did buy some ammunition, not the military. They produce and manufacture their own ammo. But the government did buy a lot of ammo from the civilian manufacturers, and the general public bought even more. According to my research, my best guess is that the government purchased between 1.5 and 2.5 billion rounds of ammo from the civilian manufacturers, which leads about 10 billion rounds for the general population, which is about 900 million more rounds than the previous year. And again, 900 million rounds sounds like a lot of ammo, but it really isn't. Especially when you take into effect all the panic buying that was going on and all the hoarding that was going on. And don't even get me started with all the vendors at the gun shows with pallets, literally pallets of ammo that they were selling for $1 to $2 a round. You know, they were making some serious profit off that ammunition, and where they were getting that ammunition, I couldn't tell you. They were literally getting pallets of ammunition, while the rest of us, you know, we couldn't even find ammo anywhere. But these guys were turning up pallet after pallet after pallet of ammunition and selling it for a good little profit. So yes, it is true that in 2020, more ammunition was sold to the general public than any other year, right? There was no other year that can compare to 2020. This was the year that more ammunition was sold to the general public. And while I don't believe there was a conspiracy on the part of the government to create or prolong the ammo shortage, I do know that the federal government did purchase a lot of ammo from the civilian manufacturers, which put a little bit of a strain on the supply and demand. But my best guess, based off of their budget, is that they purchased anywhere around 10 to 12% of the total amount of ammo that was manufactured in 2020. I do believe it was a perfect storm to the likes of which we've never seen, and hopefully we'll never see again, with all the civil unrest, all of the lockdowns, and of course the presidential election, which always leads to more gun sales, especially when the candidate is openly talking about confiscation and new regulations coming down as soon as this person is elected into office. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Go ahead and drop a comment down below and tell me your thoughts and your opinions. And as always, guys, I thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.